See is what you get.
As long as that's a quorum, we're
Yeah, we
good.
have four. French fries are ready now.
How did you know?
You know, Alan, the airport terminal and the common facilities out there are looking beautiful, just beautiful.
Have you seen the new addition?
I saw it when it was under construction, but I haven't seen it
There you
recently.
go. If you have time, it's looking.
Yeah, we'll
So,
be going out afterwards. I know Randy wanted to see it. So
Yeah, I would love to.
It's really impressive.
we're trying to get those little painting and trim things finished. They're out there unloading some furniture right now. There's some more casual seating, that goes out there.
Are we the punch list yet or still?
No, that's very soon though. We'll be doing a walkthrough of the new part here, what go in another 2-3 weeks.
Oh, okay, great.
They've done some preliminary punch.
Oh, okay.
walkthroughs, but-
Yeah.
When do you think it opens up?
Well, it'll be open for the restrooms here in the next 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then we'll be waiting on the boarding bridges, which is more protracted delivery.
So still several months,
July, maybe even early August at this point.
really?
A couple issues on production side.
Ready? It's 4 o'clock. Let's call this meeting. All please rise.
Thank you. Heavenly Father, we are grateful and humbled that you ask us to serve you in some small way on this airport authority. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we carry forth the business. We ask that you guide us to be prudent and make the best decisions with the information that you've given us and with the knowledge of the staff that you've provided so well. We ask you today humbly, dear Father, that you take care of those that fly in and out of our airport, not just those that come here to visit family and for recreation, but those that fly through these grounds for medical reasons, for the people that fly them to seek medical services. Keep them safe, keep the military safe that come through our airport. And we thank you for services such as Beamer that help protect us from some of the evils of the drugs that come in that haunt and destroy some of our young people. So Heavenly Father, we offer you those prayers in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Seated. Okay, Mrs. Calderwood,
Here.
Mr. Carter, Mr. Conrad, Mr. Diedenbach,
Here.
Ms. Horvath,
Here.
Dr. Norton, Mr. Page,
Here.
Thomas,
Here.
Mr. Wright.
Present?
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Meeting highlights received in advance. Everybody had an opportunity to review the highlights of the meeting.
Yes, so moved.
Second?
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? To citizens input, non-agenda items. Do you hear any citizens input? Hearing none, we'll move on to airport authority. Hearing none, we have an agenda in front of us that we need to adopt.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Maybe abstaining, opposing, carried. We have an agenda. I'll turn this over to Alan.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, and shoot me some daggers if I'm running on too long. I know we can make it short, but as far as COVID goes, we have had no GACRA cases since the last meeting. We did have one entity up on the airport that did have 2 cases. They were resolved, no serious illness or hospitalizations, and those people are back at work. There are no labor shortages due to the illness. Mask compliance, which is now federal law, as you know, has been good. So we really haven't had any issues there. Occasionally you will have somebody slip up, forget, whatever, but people have been very good about it. Passenger traffic, it did show a marked increase in March over February, as we expected, with the Gator Nationals going on. Actually, March was up 52% over February, so a nice bump there. If you'll remember, major COVID effects for travel began about March 13th of last year. So we were about 2% above last year's number for March. So we had, so that's not bad, but we're still only 56% of March 2019 numbers. So we'll now start comparing things with 2019 to see how we're doing. We did get a nice bump from Easter travel. April, I'm expecting April will be better than March, even though March is usually one of our better numbers, but there's pent-up demand out there and people are starting to travel. Right now, parking inventory for the first 20 days of April was up 6% over March, the first 20 days of March. So that's a good sign. Overall, our traffic is still continuing pretty much to track with the national average. March, we do a little bit better because of the Gator Nationals bump. We still have a reduced flight schedule, as you can imagine, but the good news is that Delta's increasing to 5 a day instead of 4 beginning in June. So that's good. And 4 on Saturday instead of 3 on Saturday. American remains at 4 to Charlotte. And the really good news is that American is going to 3 a day to Dallas versus the 2.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it's all on the CRJ 700 airplane. So no downgrading of aircraft. Miami is still up in the air. There's nothing in the schedule for Miami until August the 18th, I believe. Federal relief funding, we talked a little bit about that. Our CARES money, the first 3.1 million has been spent. We are looking to accept about 2.3 million in the bill that was signed in December, and extrapolating out how much money was made in the most recent bill that was signed in February, we are expecting about $8.2 million, but we have not. FAA was to make an announcement on that grant program, the CRISA grants, in mid-April, and that has not happened. We've been checking their website every day, and their mid-April may be a little different than our mid-April, but I'm sure we'll get there very soon. As far as the grants, there are no employee retention requirements for the grants for airports of our size. That is a requirement for larger airports and airlines. The other good news about the last CRISA bill was that we expect our airport improvement grants that we do this year to be at 100% instead of 90%. So we won't have to expend our funds or PFCs to match that grant. So that's where we're at in terms of COVID. Suzanne, we have a little, some pictures, not as much to show you on our construction. If you look on page 13 of the information items, I'll go through some photos real quick. Maybe not. You'll have to advance that, Suzanne. It's not working for some reason. Just some aerials, no change here. We haven't done some new aerials, so if you can blow by the first 3, Suzanne, fairly soon. In case you forgot what it looks like. Roof work, we're just got this one little section left to do, but they've been busy on the roof doing flashing and all of the electrical conduits and lightning protection that runs on the roof. They've been finishing that up. They couldn't finish this last section until the new HVAC units were up, these air handlers. Suzanne, go ahead. Oh, back one. Okay. So there's a lot of disruption. You'll see some temporary construction wall out there where Tailwinds is out on the secure side. There's 2 new air handlers that go in there. And the one that, they both go all the way down to the floor, that void there in the roof. But the first one, RTU1, is being installed and all piped up with cold and hot water. And then next week, they'll take the crane and they'll set the other one. We've had to, just because of the interruption in cooling from time to time, although I believe RTU1 is back online today, is it not? It's not. It's not, luckily, it's been really cool. We're lucky in that it hasn't been 95 degrees out, but we have this skylight tarped over there to keep the temperatures cool in there. I have not heard of any complaints, and we got some fans going and some cooling ramped up from another unit, so it should be fairly comfortable. Next, Suzanne. Just little things. This is I said this before, I think, 90% done, 90% to go. So you have all these little tiny things that they're doing. Drip edge there on the curved glass, the right roofing material for the outdoor pet relief area. Just a lot of little stuff like that. Oh, I'm working again. The carpeting has gone in the main ramp, and the glass railing with the stainless steel trim is being finished up. They're doing a lot of testing and balancing, little trim work and cove base and painting and things like that. That's a terrible picture with all the light that comes in the building. It's hard, but the FIDS displays are up for the gate counters. Gate counters are all trimmed out with tile and quartzite material and just a little bit of stainless trim left to go. And getting those set in the right spots and trying to work out the exact location of the little boarding bridge scanners at the airlines, or the boarding pass scanners that they put in. And little things like step stool for kids at the sink and the restrooms, hooks for your bags and purses and things. That may be the end, Suzanne, is that it? So, but yeah, I welcome you all to come take a look at it after the meeting if you have time. Any questions on that? That takes us to the boarding bridges on page 16. The foundations have gone in for the boarding bridges. And that survey information was sent to the folks that are building them, ThyssenKrupp. That was a delay in getting that done under the one contract, which affects the other contract. And now they have to make some adjustments to their fabrication before the pedestals are fabricated so that they fit when they come in here. They're awfully big pieces of equipment, so we want them to fit just perfectly. And so they've been working on other things on the bridges. So they are in production and doing things like mounting CCTV cameras, and there's a valet bag conveyor and ground equipment, airplane power units, things that have to be installed. So that work is moving on. Other than that, really, it's just our numbers for the month. On page 20, you can see that air carrier operations are up, and those will go up again as we get our schedule back. GA was down significantly in March. Not really sure why. Deb might be able to shed some light. I think we had some bad weather, but I'm not really sure if there was anything else at play there, frankly. I know that April is going to be a good month, and I'll let Debbie talk to you about that rather than me steal her thunder. But in terms of airline flights, obviously there have been fewer flights, so we are down, but we're up over our year to date. So, and then fuel flow, which was pretty flat, 1.62% down. The better news, if you look at page 25, we already talked about it there, but we're on a good trajectory up. We're up about 2.2% over March of last year, 612 passengers. So finally getting a handle on it. If you look at page 26, load factors really is all there's worth talking about in my view. Delta at 59%, which is better than the year-to-date average. Charlotte, that's almost 70%, again, better than the year-to-date average. And then the bright spot is Dallas at 74.4%. And you know, the numbers, total passengers don't mean a lot right now, but it's good to see the planes filling up and schedule being, you know, improved. You can look at parking and TSA numbers. They're all up. They correspond with the passenger numbers. So I won't bore you with those details. And that's pretty much it, Madam Chair.
Any questions for Alan on this? All right, moving on to the finance report. Is Matt with us, or
Matt's out there.
you there, Matt?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so if you turn to the middle of page 32, total revenues were 447,000 as opposed to 455,000 budgeted, and that's $7,700 under budget. That mainly came because Amazon ceased their lease with us, so we're no longer getting that monthly revenue of about $9K from them. Total expenses for the month were 403,000 as opposed to 407,000 budgeted, and that's $4,400 under budget for the month. Net income for the month was $30,727 as opposed to $33,267 budgeted, and that's about $2,500 for the month under budget. Year to date is $86,000 net income as compared to anticipated loss of $45,000, and so we're $131,000 ahead of budget of income before cash for the year to date.
Move to accept the financial report.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, or opposed?
I will say they're doing a great job against all odds.
Okay, we've got a slew of resolutions here in front of us. Alan, if you want to get us started with item number 3 on the agenda here?
Okay, and you let me know if you need more information. I know all of you were here for the previous meeting. So this is our award of RFP 21-001 to develop the lot for construction of a hangar for an aircraft service business over at our former aircraft rescue and firefighting site. So that building was demolished. We had one proposal that was from Gulf Atlantic Airways, Inc., which is the parent company for University Air Center. And we've already gone over these lease terms that were published in the RFP. So we're recommending that you approve the resolution to award to Gulf Atlantic Airways and then direct us to begin negotiating a final lease agreement that we would bring back to you at the next meeting in May.
Move approval of resolution 21-014.
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor? Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
Roll call. I was gonna do it to the keep it consistent. Roll call.
Every chair does the same thing, trust me.
All righty, we'll start with Mr. Page.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mrs. Calderwood.
Yes.
Mr. Diedenbach.
Yes.
Dr. Norton.
Yes.
And Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Item number 4, Alan.
All right, thank you. This is the retirement of the debt for the Eclipse hangar. It's resolution number 21-015 to pay off early approximately $2,869,000 in principal and to settle the swap agreement guaranteeing the fixed interest rate, with that settlement being $395,200. And that may change slightly between now and when we are to cancel or terminate the swap, which should be at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So
Move approval of resolution 21-015.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on that resolution?
I have a gun.
Roll call.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Okay.
Calderwood.
I see.
All righty, Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Calderwood,
Yes.
Mr. Deepak,
Yes.
Ms. Dr. Norton,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Item number 5.
Thank you. This is for acceptance of a grant offer, anticipated grant offer at this point, but the offer's been made, but in the wrong name, as I discussed earlier. But we anticipate a grant offer of $2,293,744 from FAA for coronavirus relief under the Airport Coronavirus Response Grant Program. And that's resolution number 21-016. And then we will go ahead and forward your resolution, if you accept it, to the city so that they can get it on their agenda and to accept as co-sponsor.
All right, I move approval of resolution number 21016.
Any questions or discussion on resolution 21-016? Susanna, roll call?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Calderwood,
Yes.
Mr. Diedenbach.
Yes.
Dr. Norton,
Yes.
Mr. Page.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
And resolution 21-017, following up on number 5 on number 6.
This is the companion resolution. This is a offer from the FAA for $58,524 for coronavirus relief for our airport concessionaires. It would be distributed based on their percent of minimum annual guarantee and rent that we charge to concessionaires. Not all concessionaires will be eligible, but we would disperse this to those that are eligible. Smaller businesses have been earmarked more money than larger businesses, and those that already receive certain funding from the federal government for coronavirus relief would not be eligible. So, but this is acceptance of the grant, and likewise, we would submit your resolution to the city and assurances to them, and they would put it on their agenda to accept the grant as a co-sponsor.
Second?
Any questions or discussions on resolution 21-017? Roll call?
Okay, Mrs. Calderwood,
Yes.
Mr. Diedenbach,
Yes.
Dr. Norton,
Yes.
Mr. Page.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Wright.
Yes.
And Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right, and on to the tenant report.
This won't take more than 40 to 50 minutes.
I have a job.
So since I've seen you last, there's been a lot going on the GA side. It started with an equine horse charter. Hopefully all of you saw the report that WCJB did. We were receiving 4 horses that were going to, I'm sorry? That's what I meant, WFD. Testing you, thank you. Brought 4 horses in destined for Ocala and Palm Beach and sent 10 horses to San Bernardino by way of Lexington. This came up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because the Ocala airport was doing some work on their runway, and they just called us and said, can you help us out? And so we were able to pull together a team. It was something. They have this beautiful plane that is basically a flying stable. They have a truck with a ramp that drives up, and they bring these tractor trailers and line them up and connect them with these connecting ramps. It was really something. Then we jumped right into the NATA formation flying clinic. We had 36 T6 Texans, 3 T28 Trojans, a P51 Mustang, which is one of those V12 fast as lightning, so cool. And then the Placid Lassie DC3. For that event, we pumped 5,561 gallons of avgas, which sold for $26,000. More importantly, 43 hotel bookings, 21 rental cars, plus catered meals and dinners out. So it was a really big event for our community. Kind of overlapping and moving on, we had 2 military operations. A T-45 Naval Training Detachment with 7 jets, 21 maintainers, and 15 operations specialists. And then the Department of Defense had a training exercise with 2 C-130s, 3 Park Hawk helicopters, which I've learned are Black Hawks with a fueling tube on the front. 38 Special Forces personnel. For those 2 events, we pumped 36,483 gallons of Jet A. I had my line team racked up 191 hours of overtime during those 3 weeks. All in all, it generated 1,000 nights of hotel nights in local hotels or VBROs, 250 nights or days of rental cars. And using the most conservative estimates, per diems and, not counting the fact that people told me they went to Embers and went out to Midtown and all of that. We estimate very conservatively that the economic impact for Gainesville was $326,440. So we're really proud of that event. We're proud that we brought that much business to the airport and to the community. And I guess the sounds of freedom were worth it to our hotel industry folks. 2 other things, our SF-50 Vision Jet passed its conformities inspection, so we'll be able to start flying Part 135 missions in that. And I don't know if y'all heard, but it looks like I'm building a new hangar. So thank you all for that. We're very excited. And there aren't any questions, then I will.
Madam Chair, how do these events come here? Do you bring them in?
We market very heavily to the military. We attend a trade show out west once a year.
Okay.
And anytime the military come in, we talk up our abilities to help them. And we've now had repeat business from this. The Department of Defense, this is the 3rd time they've come since I've been here. And the T-45s, this is the 2nd time they've come. And they've already scheduled again.
Wow. Great news.
The
Thank you.
T6 also, the T6s, they were a little challenging. They may or may not come back. They want to come back. We'll have to make sure that we're staffed a little better. They were needy, I guess was the way to say. But they did with the DC-3 and then 14 of the T6 Texans, they did a formation fly path in twilight over the airport. And we've got great video of it. I've also got, great photographs of all of these aircraft. I was going to bring a little PowerPoint show, and then I thought, well, with the military, I don't know if I should be putting that on the public record. I don't know what is or isn't for public consumption. But if any of you are curious, just let me know, and I'm happy to share some photographs. And the video of the flying was pretty spectacular. So anyway, we're glad to be back to have just a little bit of normal business because it's been a really busy 23 days. But we're just delighted to participate and to have this come into our community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks again for approving the RFP. We're really excited.
Despite the odd Facebook posts that you see out there, it is really reassuring to hear like a default Merlin rolling over the top of Gainesville, and you're like, what is that? Oh, yeah, it's nice.
We did have we had some colorful comments from a couple of folks that were concerned that perhaps one of these World War II planes was going to bomb their porch, but I guess because they're so stealth, you don't hear them coming at all. But most of the socials out there, a lot of the Facebook pages, the community pages were just, how do we thank them? This is so great. Just look up. I mean, there was a lot of really positive, there's a lot of positive spin out in the interwebs. And Alan and I were talking yesterday. I said, people don't call the airport to say, this is so great. They call when they're unhappy about something. But there was a lot of great positive impact.
Is there any way that they could coordinate or, kind of show where they're going to do their formation flying practice, like over the prairie or over Loch Lusa or any of those areas, so people can see that?
You would 100% think that, wouldn't you? Yeah. No.
That's a good idea.
One of the things that we learned, they did not seem to have any kind of plan for when groups were going to go up. So, they told us we will be assembling tomorrow between 9 and 10, and then we had 8 of them there at 6 in the morning saying we're going out for a sunrise flight. And they decided that at their hotel rooms the night before and said, well, the weather looks good, let's go do this. And we weren't told until they said, we need you to get us to our planes and fuel the planes. So one of our recommendations is that, again, weather permitting, that they do have a little bit more of a schedule so that, because we got a lot of calls, people saying, I want to come and watch. On The Saturday of the Warbirds event, we had conservatively 100 to 125 people just, claw hanging on the fence, looking at things.
Yeah.
And we were pretty transparent, and we told them this is a private event, but you can come to the observation areas around the airport and watch, and there's a lot of activity. But we did not bring people out onto the ramp just for the safety's sake, because it was extraordinarily busy.
Yeah.
Great.
She also has some nice pictures of the Air Horse One,
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah, that was pretty cool.
which was really cool. Beautiful horses fording the plane and stuff. So, playing on the pool.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Any other airport authority input today? And this is looking good, and with that, 4:29.
The most efficient board in Alachua County, in Gainesville, and North Central Florida. We thank you, Madam Chair.
Way too many. Sure.
Until 1 o'clock this morning, I was. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
Grace?
I don't know, without losing, without that office at 1:04 having a sandwich.
Have a great year. Thank you.